So we were chatting about all of these the websites that we're seeing in 2023, and there's still a lot of problems that we're seeing. And so we've got 7 things that we still see living websites doing wrong, or they don't have enough of something. And so we're just going to chat about these 7 things.
And to clarify there as well, there's way more than 7 things we see, but
Way
these are the
more.
7 biggest issues that we see over and over and over again when we work with a new partner and we're setting things up and getting things going to really turn their website into a move-in machine. That's really what we want to do, is create a move-in machine on your website that is going to get you more move-ins. That's really what a website is for. I know a lot of people have different ideas of what a website might be for. Some people look at it as kind of an online brochure for your community, but you really need to go into 2023 with a mindset of how can your website turn more traffic into tours so that you can turn it into move-ins. That's really
Yep.
all that's what a website should do. That's what people expect it to do, frankly, right? They're going to your website looking to take action. But so many websites that we see are not optimized for someone to take action. So
Yep.
these are the 7 things that we have come up with. And again, there's more we can chat. There's probably
Yep.
30 things we could chat about.
Yeah.
But these are the 7 things. So number one is focusing on the design of the website instead of the messaging, right? Um, if you've heard this podcast, you've heard me mention Donald Miller. I think Donald Miller is the master when it comes to brand messaging. But he has a quote that people don't buy a product or service until they read or hear the words that make them want to buy. And I believe in that 100%. The problem is that most websites are talking about the community. They're talking about all their amenities. They're talking about themselves, right? They're just regurgitating all these facts. And guess what? It looks just like every one of your competitors' websites because that's what people do. Oh, we've got these amenities, we've got this food, we've got these programs, it's fine, and you'll get to that. But if you will lead with the prospects' problems and how you can help them solve those problems to get what they want, I promise you your engagement is going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
When we used to do these for partners, we would go in and actually build them a brand narrative. We don't even have time to do that anymore, but it was amazing. And we would see engagement triple and quadruple just from changing the messaging, right? So it makes such
Yep.
a big difference. And part of that also is not agitating the problems and creating those stakes, right? Like if people don't have anything to lose by not reaching out to you, they're less likely to reach out to you. It's just human nature, right? So you have to create those stakes by agitating the problem. Be like, hey, look, um, if you don't do this, you're going to continue to wonder if they're eating. You're going to continue to wonder, have they fallen while you're at work? You're going to continue to wonder, are they taking their meds? All those things that are weighing on you as the adult child, you're going to continue to feel all that anxiety um, if you don't take this step. So, I think
Yeah.
that to me is where it starts. If your messaging is all about you instead of them, you're losing opportunities.
Well, I'll say no one loves a newly, freshly designed website more than myself. I love being able to sit down and just like kind of play with the design, kind of try out some different features, making it look cool. And I think that's where most people start is when they think, oh, our website needs a big refresh. And oftentimes they really do. Maybe they're stale they haven't been updated in a couple of years, but they just copy and paste the same exact text was on there before, and they just put a new coat of paint over it. And
Yeah, I
then
would,
and then
and
a
I
couple
won't.
months
I would
later, you're left wondering, thinking like, how come our new website hasn't done anything more for us?
No, and you're 100% right. I mean, there's definitely a need for a redesign on a lot of websites. My point is just build the design around the language, right?
Yeah.
Map out your language, map out your story, your narrative, map that out. Um, and then design it around that. Because yeah, most websites are way too busy as well. That's not one of our 7 things, but most websites are way too busy.
Yeah.
Which I guess some of this that we're talking about, the overwhelming or the overarching story is it's too busy. So,
Yeah.
and speaking of that, you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, I feel like I could spend about 4 hours talking about that one. But let's move on to the second one. Too many calls to action above the fold. So when we say above the fold, we're talking about when on mobile and desktop, when you first go to a website, what are the links that you see that you can click? In most websites, it'll look something like this. You have the logo in the top left, and then maybe you'll even have like a top bar above the logo that's something about your community's COVID policy. And then to the right, you'll have a menu links, maybe that say home, about, levels of care, resources, contact, careers. And then all of those links will probably have drop down links, and you've got
Yes,
all
that's
of
my
those to
favorite.
click. Yeah, all those to click. And then
So
after
seriously, go to your
that,
website and count
yeah,
how many calls to action you have. And every single, if you hover over about and 5 things now pop up under about, that's 6 calls to action. Just count how many calls to action you have on your website. I bet most of you have at least 30.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which,
So I
by the
mean, you've
way,
got,
what does that do from a psychological standpoint? It makes it hard for the person surfing the website to know what they need to do next to take that next step. You've got to make it easy for them to know. Like, you have to have a buy now button, right? In senior living, buy now is schedule a tour, schedule a visit, schedule a tour, book a tour, however you want to word it. But that's the buy now button. And most people just don't have that clearly articulated,
yeah.
and so you're losing out.
Yeah, I mean, if you take what you currently have above the fold, then you ask someone based on the information you see, what do you think is the next step this website wants you to take? Most people will say, I have no clue. But what if you
Yep.
removed all of those links and replaced it with, maybe a big button that says request a visit, schedule a tour, and maybe even a second one that says view our pricing or, download our move-in guide. And you just had those 2 things. If you ask that person the same question, what do you think we want you to do? They would clearly know the answer. There would be no confusion.
And then the next one comes right off of that, right? So when you
Yep.
do have a schedule a
Oh,
tour
yeah.
button, don't send them to a contact form that looks like a IRS form, right? Where you get name, email, phone, who's this for, you
Level of
ask them
care,
10, 15
interest.
questions, right? Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need to get there yet, right? Number one, when they have a schedule a tour button, actually let them schedule a tour on your calendar, right?
And show the calendar
I,
first before anything else.
this is, of all the tools and widgets we put on websites, this is the number one performing button, because when they click on our schedule a tour button, it actually goes to a calendar that is synced with the sales director and their calendar. So it doesn't just, a good first step is to have a calendar at all, right? Maybe it doesn't sync, but it'll say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Whatever. When I see that, I know it's not actually synced because it's just showing the same times every day.
Yeah.
But that's at least better than not having it. It's better
Yeah.
than a lead form or contact form, right? But we recommend using a calendar that actually syncs with the calendar of the sales and marketing director or the ED, whoever's giving the tours, because it shows some scarcity as well, right? It doesn't look like that's just wide open all day, every day. So, let them, if they click a button that says schedule a tour, let them actually schedule a tour. If that's what the button says, let them schedule the tour. Share your calendar with them. Let them pick a time that works for them while that window is open, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, when you think about like going to a travel website. When I go to, well, I'm not going to mention Southwest because that's bad juju. But if I like go to Expedia or another website and I clicked a button that said, book travel, they don't send me to a form that says, what's your first name, what's your last name, let us know this and we'll get back to you. They let me choose flights and hotels and cruises and all of that. That's essentially what we're saying is when someone says schedule a tour, you should let them actually schedule a tour, not say, hey, give us all your information and then we'll get back to you. And we know the reality is that we don't get back to them about half the time anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, the number 4 on our list, right, is maybe they're not ready to schedule a tour. You need to have a clear opportunity for them to engage with the website for those people who are not ready to come in for a tour. What I mean by that, like Luke mentioned earlier, download our move-in guide, download our guide, or download our ebook about when is the right time for senior living, view our pricing, whatever it is, which by the way, pricing, number 1 converting secondary call to action that we've tried all these, and pricing is by far the most highly converting, and we could have a whole podcast on whether or not you should put pricing on your website, but we put pricing behind the form, which all we ask them is name, email, phone number. We don't get into all the other stuff. We just want them to take that micro commitment in order to get that. But you've got to have something that they can begin to have a conversation with you, even though they're not ready to come in. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Number 5, lack of video. Right. And I know this feels like a lot of times this feels very overwhelming to get all this video done, but I'm here to tell you that it's easier than ever. Number 1, start with your chat widget. If you're still using a text chat widget, they're boring and they're annoying for this demographic, right? Have a video, we call ours the welcome widget, whatever. But when someone lands on a website, there's a video, ideally, of the marketing director or sales director that they're going to meet with, welcoming them to the website, giving them some helpful tips, and giving them, the clear calls to action of schedule a tour with us now, download whatever, ask a question, but it makes it very, very clean, and welcoming. To see something different. Like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Right?
We talked before about kind of like the purpose of a website is to drive move-ins, is to drive tours. And if you kind of frame it a little differently, you could also say that the purpose of a website is to quickly create that relationship between the lead and the marketing and salesperson. And that oftentimes will come, as they're giving a tour. So when you have this video widget, and if it is of the actual marketing or salesperson, you're just helping create that relationship faster than if you're using just a basic text widget. So having a video of your marketing person saying, hey, my name is Luke. Thanks for visiting the Green Pines Village. If you have any questions, click on one of the buttons below. We'd love to see you. And so they already know as soon as they come on the website, oh, this is Luke. He's the marketing or salesperson at the community. That's who I would be touring with. That's a great first impression. And that solves the problem that a lot of communities have is how do we start personalizing the website? This is a great first step.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, video chat is the next big thing for websites. I see it all over the world in other industries. Once again, senior living is typically a little slower to adopt things, but I think for this demographic, it should be one of the first industries to adopt it because it's just so much more effective with the demographics. But also spend some time videoing your programs and events, right? And it doesn't have to be professionally done. You don't have to bring in a videographer. Just get some video. Add this to the list of things for your, programs director to do, of just, hey, every event, get some video. And when you see a video you like, use it on the website, right? And then also video testimonials. Okay. I can't tell you how strong these are. One of the things, back to Donald Miller, one of the things he always says is that, you've got to show authority. Well, how do you show authority? Well, the number one way is to let your people do the talking for you, right? It's great for you to talk about how great your community is. It's great for your sales director to know all the ins and outs and the success and the numbers and the awards and all that. That's great. But in an industry that has a pretty low trust score, senior living has a pretty low trust score, by the way, from consumers. They don't trust senior living communities. You need your people telling your prospects how awesome you are.
Yep.
And it's one thing to have it typed out and say, oh my God, I love it here at Senior Pine Oaks. The staff is great, Dallas ship, right? Or sometimes you see like anonymous, which is crazy. If you can have someone on camera in your community saying, oh, I just love living here. I wish I'd have moved here sooner. Staff's great. Food's awesome. We have so much fun every day, blah, blah, blah. You get those kind of things on video, the number of people you're going to book on a tour goes through the roof. And again, this doesn't have to be professionally done.
Yep.
Just shoot it on a phone, upload it, rock and roll. Right?
Yeah, we've looked at a lot of different studies about video and video compared to written testimonials. And this one is interesting to me, this stat that 9 out of 10 people think that what your customers say about you is more important than what you say about you. And so video does a much better job at conveying that than actual written testimonials, because in senior living, what ends up happening with written testimonials is, you'll see this oftentimes, is you'll see a written testimonial, but then it'll have like a stock photo next to it, like that's supposed to actually be a real person, or it'll have something that says, my mother loved this community, and then it'll say anonymous. Well, I mean, you might as well not even put those reviews on there, because
Agreed.
that just looks fake.
If you put anonymous, just don't even put it on there.
Don't put it on there.
It's almost going to look scammy.
Yes.
Right. I think if you put anonymous as the name on a review, I think it's a scam. I don't believe it.
Yep. 100%.
And I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So number 6, along the same lines, bad visuals. Right. I know sometimes we have to use stock images. I'm not saying to not use any stock images, but if you don't have a clear picture on your website of what day-to-day life is like in your community, you're losing trust. They have to trust you to want to meet with you, right? So if your whole website is stock photos and drone footage of the roof of your building,
oh my goodness,
and photos of empty rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we see over and over again. It looks like no one has ever moved in. It looks like it's just this empty building, and people don't want to move into a building. They want to move into a community. And if your visuals don't show that, then I'm going to wonder, like, okay, why are there no people? Like, I want to see people who are living. I want to see them smiling, having fun, engaging with your staff. And this is the part that, yes, you may need to bring a photographer in to get all the photos that you want, right? This is the single part that you probably need to sit down, make out a schedule. In fact, maybe we'll do a podcast on this. What does it look like to plan a photo shoot like this, right? Let's make a note to maybe do this to help people.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's not that overwhelming, right? Especially if you get a good photographer. So we can talk about how do you get a good photographer and what to look for and how to direct that. But get photos of people in your community, right? They will do it. I mean, if anything, they think it's fun that they're they're on the website, right?
Yeah.
So bad visuals, because the words are incredibly important, but the visuals have to back up those words.
Yeah.
Right. So if you say, "Hey, we're gonna help bring your mom and dad back to life, like get them back engaged and living and blah blah blah." Having a good time and eating and meeting new friends. That's what the visuals need to show. Not an empty workout room with all the equipment lined up.
Not what kind of shingles you use.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants to live on the roof, right?
I mean,
we don't need to see a picture of the roof.
Yeah. I am so curious. I mean, I don't know if the drone footage craze is just because we have drones now and we think they're so cool.
That's
I mean,
exactly
the videos look cool. They look cool.
Yeah.
And we see other companies use them and we think, man, that's cool. But then just the way senior living uses it, and because of what we're really selling, I mean, just showing how humongous your senior living campus might be, I don't even know if that's the right message you want to send. Because
I mean,
sometimes this, go ahead.
I was just say I liken it to a church, right? I don't care about a drone footage of a church. I want to see, is the church thriving? Are the people growing,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the same thing in this. I mean, there's some industries that I'm sure a drone video and footage is really, really cool and it actually converts. I just don't think it converts. In fact, I know it from seeing the numbers of conversion when we go in and change this. I know it doesn't convert as high, right? Like
Yep.
people aren't buying. It may be great for your investors because they want to see the community, they want to see the property, but for your residents, they want to see inside the doors. They want to know,
Yep.
what is life really like, because I don't trust you, right? I don't believe you. And so when your visuals don't help to build that trust, they're bouncing off your website and they're going to another website, and then they're going to a place for mom and caring.com, and then they're coming back and saying, hey, um, now it's going to cost you $5,000 to get this person to move in, but they
Yep.
were probably on your website to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
number 7, lack of testimonials, right? We kind of
Yeah.
touched on this already, but again, what's better than you telling your prospective families how awesome the community is? Your residents telling people how awesome it is,
Yeah.
right? Let them do the talking for you, and again, video it. Right. We've got a brand new tool. We don't do these podcasts to like sell our stuff, but I'm telling you, our new tool that allows you to load all these video testimonials on your website seamlessly, quickly, pain-free, um, is very, very powerful because you don't need a video shoot. And what we
Yep.
see over and over is these organic videos of testimonials are actually converting at a higher percentage than a video that looks like it was professionally done, that you paid them to come in there and talk. It again, build trust, and these organic videos are more trustworthy
Yep.
than a professionally shot video. That again, when I see it, and a part of it is because I'm in this industry, I'm in the marketing and PR world, but when I see a professionally shot video, I immediately think the person was paid to be there. They gave them a script of what to say, and I don't believe it as much.
Yep.
Whereas if it's just a quick little video of grandma sitting and playing bunco with a couple of her friends, and they're just saying, "Oh man, we love it." But I mean, let them talk together too.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be one person. Like
Yeah.
get out a camera one day of them playing bunco or bingo or whatever, and just say, "Hey, ladies, what do you like about living here?" Just let them
Yeah.
talk and go feed off each other. So
I mean, there's a reason
so those are
TikTok
the
is so popular. It's all
yeah.
organic. It's all organic stuff. It's just stuff happening in your life that everyone's recording with their iPhone or Android. It's easy.
So that's the 7 things, and I'm actually gonna give you a bonus. I'm gonna give you one more. I just thought of this that
8
I
things.
can't talk about a website without talking about following up with the leads that it does generate, right? So these 7 things are gonna generate way more leads from your website. If you do these 7 things, I promise you, you're gonna double, triple, quadruple your engagement, maybe even more, right? Depending on how bad it is. But on the back end, you've got to have automated follow-up set up, because when someone does interact with your website, they are opening the door to have a conversation, right? And the longer you wait, they have an opportunity to talk to a sibling that's going to talk them out of it. They have an opportunity to bring it up with mom and dad, and they shoot it down. They see something that makes them change their mind, right? And so when they say, "Hey, I want to talk to you," you need to get to them fast. And it's not just about beating your competition. It's not just about customer service. From a psychological standpoint, it is about, you have an open door to have a conversation, and you need to walk through that door as quickly as possible. But you have way too many things going on to be able to respond quickly, right? I mean, we've mystery shopped almost 3,000 websites now. The average follow-up time for an email is 42 hours. right? And honestly, what's happening is half the people have an automated email and half the people don't and never follow up. So I think
Yep.
honestly, if we really dive into it, it's either you're following up immediately with an automated email or you're not following up at all.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. Same thing, text messaging. Less than 7% of these 3,000 communities ever send us a text message when we ask for more information. That's insane.
Yep.
Right? But it's just because you don't have the system put in place. So again, got to get that follow-up time. I would say 1 minute. Send them a text message in 1 minute saying, hey,
Yep.
Luke, just saw you download our pricing, or hey, Luke, just saw you scheduled a tour with us, and begin that discovery process, begin that
Yep.
conversation. And again, you have that window of opportunity, you got to go get it. So
Absolutely.
if you do those 7 things and then you have an automated follow-up system, you are going to build a move-in machine with your website. You're going to grow your community. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot more fun for your sales directors and stuff too, because guess how much better they get at giving tours when they give more and more tours. It's just
Yeah.
practice, right?
Yep.
And the good sales directors, word's going to travel about which communities are bringing in more opportunities for them that they don't have to go get themselves. So your recruiting goes up. It's all cyclical, man, but it starts with these 7 things. Anything else you want to add, Luke?
The only thing I'll say is, if you're currently thinking about redesigning your site, you're creating a new website. If you just want to schedule a call with us and say, hey, can you look at what I've currently got going on? Can you give me some feedback? We'd be happy to do that. We'd be happy to just kind of say, maybe think about this, or what if you added this or took this away? We'd be happy to chat with you.
Yeah, and if you want to know what your follow-up looks like, right? We'll mystery shop your website for free. We give you a little report about, how people followed up with us. So yeah, just go to seniorlivingpros.com. You can request that follow-up report. You can also schedule a call with us, seniorlivingpros with an S.com. And man, I've enjoyed this. I think this is one of our better podcasts we've done, Luke. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. Hope this helps you guys, and give us feedback too.
Yep. Hope it helps. Have a great 2023.
Let's do it.